Wait. Okay, now I'm ready.
Wait, what? Oh, Gordo,
I'm ready.
put your Johnson away.
I'm ready now.
Wait, hold on, I'm not ready. My Johnson's still out.
Or my Johnson's not out yet.
Whatever you people prefer.
I just
Welcome.
love that word, Johnson. I love
Johnson's a great word. Johnson is probably one of the top 5 great words to describe that particular organ. It's hilarious. Hey, welcome to episode 120 of the motherfucking podcast. This is, of course, the official podcast of the International Power Rock Combo motherfucking Ruckus from Denver and Chicago, respectively. Even though Gordo, on his own, has been on this show more collectively than any of the other members of the band, I would say.
Yeah, go to grannytweed.com or something. I don't know.
How you doing, Gord?
I'm doing great. My Johnson's doing great. Everything is going great, man.
Did you take some painkillers before you got on the show, or have a few hard seltzers or something?
No. Not really. No, it's been a hell of a day and a hell of a month, which in a hell of a year.
Yeah.
The year of our Lord 2020. So
Yeah.
I'm just, man, I'm just going with the flow over here. You know?
Fortunately,
Flow.
we are not in control. Fortunately. Hey, we got a special episode for you guys this time. Took a little bit off because we had a little miscommunication, and I wanted to make sure we got this guest on because he is awesome, and he's got quite an amazing place and lots of cool stories and lives in a very interesting, weird place here in our home state of Colorado. Please welcome to the program the founder, owner, proprietor of the Black Monarch Boutique Hotel in Victor, Colorado. Please welcome my old friend Adam Zimmerli to the podcast.
How you guys
Welcome,
doing?
Adam.
Welcome to the show, Adam.
Welcome, Adam.
Thanks. I'm excited to be here. I haven't been on the show.
Dude, I'm
And,
excited that you called in on Skype from your phone because you're actually going to give us a tour of the
Yeah.
facility. So tell us, if you could,
We're working.
what the Black Monarch is for people that don't know. Because I know because I've stayed there and it's amazing. But for people who've never been there before and have never heard of it, what is the Black Monarch?
The Black Monarch is the Monarch Saloon and Casino building that it was originally built in 1895. It burnt down in 1899 and then was rebuilt on the same foundation. It's at the site of the largest gold strike in North America and also the site of the Colorado labor wars. And I acquired this building about 3 years ago, and people started to tell us that it was haunted. And so I said, let's just go with that. Let's run with that. And, we've kind of taken this real heavy Victorian goth take on this building and done it as kind of a haunted theme hotel. And as it turns out, a lot of people do have paranormal experiences here. I guess I would call it haunted at this point. I've definitely had some experiences with it. And I was actually coming outside to give everybody kind of a view of where I'm at.
Yeah, sweet.
I'm up here at 10,000 feet. And so the building actually backs up to an...
Hold on, we lost your signal there.
So this behind me. Maybe I need to get closer to the building. You got me now?
Yeah, I got you now.
But if you look here behind me, I can see these huge chat piles and all this kind of burnout equipment. Let me flip this around. I don't know how to technology. There we go. So some of this stuff up here, I don't know if you guys are seeing this, but there's 120-year-old mining equipment back up here that's just abandoned on this hillside. And this hill here, it's not really a mountain. It's just a pile of gravel that basically came out here and broke a whole mountain up by hand and turned it inside out 120 years ago to get all the gold up out of the ground. And so the building, let me show you some of the building from the outside.
So wait, so that giant mound back there is not like tiny hills, like foothills into the mountains. That's just piles of what was once a mountain that man crushed down
the tailings from mining. Yeah,
Holy
is what's
shit.
back there behind me. And then let me see if I can do this again. So this is our building right here. Let me know if you lose me.
So far, so good. Dude, the paint job out front looks great. You've done a lot since the last time I was there.
Yeah, that looks really
I've
nice.
really been working hard this summer.
Yeah, well, I mean, what else are you going to do,
exterior.
right?
Yeah. I mean, that's the goal, is to get it 100. So, we're at 10,000 feet here. Give you a shot of the front door. This is always popular.
Oh yeah, that looks great.
So we've been working pretty hard on her. And
that looks beautiful.
People really love it.
That's awesome.
And, we just really have kind of embraced kind of like a lot of 90s alt culture here, and
because
really
that's how, as far as the town of Victor has gotten to, as far as the cultural zeitgeist goes.
It is still the 1990s in Victor, Colorado. Yeah.
It's like going to Eastern Europe, and like they're like, MC Hammer, he is great.
Yeah,
Tool the dream of the 90s.
Victor. People love Tool. Absolutely.
The dream of the 90s is alive in Victor.
Absolutely. I don't know about the dream of the 90s. Just the
aesthetic
heavy
of the
metal
90s.
Radio rock of the 90s.
So I gotta ask you. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I just had one question. How much gold is left in them hills?
Well,
back
the gold
there?
mine's still active, and
Ah.
Newmont Mining Corporation. Actually, let me show you. Their offices are right here across the street. So Newmont is actually one of the biggest mining. There's the sheriffs.
Oh, they have lots of police protection out there too.
You know what? They're waiting for the school bus to arrive to drop all the kids off.
Oh.
Yeah, so these two sheriffs come and escort. They literally follow the school bus from stop to stop.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
To walk the kids home? Or
Whose
to make sure
kids
they
are on that bus?
It's just they don't really have anything to do, and they're well equipped, and there's some serious Trumpers and law and order types out here, and so they just don't have nothing to do. But so I mean, I guess it kind of honestly.
But the taxpayers of Victor want their police to do something, so they're like, I don't know, follow the school bus around, make sure the kids are safe.
Make sure the kids are safe. So
wow.
I mean, I'll tell you, with a small community like this, the thing is that the police know everybody, so there is a lot more accountability. Because it's like, if they do get out of hand, get out of line with somebody, it's like, well, I'm going to call your grandma.
Right.
Who beat you up? Billy Johnson?
And not to go on a tangent, but that's one of the big arguments right now, right? When the cops are in and of the community and they're policing their own community, it's like everybody knows each other, and it makes everybody more
they're
accountable.
Policing their own community. There's no question.
Right.
I mean, unless they're driving in from Denver every day, I doubt that.
Right. There's no question. They used to have when I was a kid. Go ahead.
All of our deputies up here, I'm absolutely sure they live in the county.
Yeah.
In fact, I would go as far as to say that there's probably some Denver police that live up here.
Yeah. Well, when I was a kid, they had the residency rule in effect, which was basically if you were an employee of the city and county of Denver, you had to live in the city and county of Denver. So I grew up in a development that was the furthest southwest you could possibly get and still technically be in the Denver city and county limits, because my dad was a Denver police officer for like a dude from the 70s on. He had a 79 badge number, so he was a cop for a long time. And so the area that we lived in, the real estate, the realtors jokingly referred to it as the blue ghetto, because it was all cops and firefighters and other civilian city of Denver employees. And I remember when they dropped the residency rule and there was just this massive flight to Douglas County and the surrounding counties.
Arvada.
Oh, yeah. Everybody just, there was this mass I mean, we stayed, but there was this mass exodus of people who, like, bailed out of the neighborhood. Anyway, little aside, little tangent, just, about cops in their communities and stuff like that. It's interesting. That's so funny that they follow them home like that.
Yeah.
But,
no,
I mean, that's a
actually
good
pretty
thing to
adorable.
do. Yeah, it's pretty great. Honestly, that's like you said, if they don't have their if they have their resources freed up where they can do stuff like that, why not?
Right.
Like, why not do that?
Why not? I think that's not a horrible priority for them to keep an eye on the kids getting dropped off. So
No. It could certainly be 100 million times worse, and I think we all know that. Yeah.
Candyman won't get them.
The Candyman will not get them.
Candyman is not going to get them.
Not even around Halloween. So before we really go looking around the building, this is something that we may have talked about when I went up there and played, but there was a lot of things going on, and it might have just slipped out of my brain. But I also want to get it on record here on the podcast. What possesses someone to go to the middle of nowhere? Because Victor is the middle of nowhere, right?
Yeah,
like it's
yeah.
like you guys are near Cave of the Winds, right?
Like Cave of the Winds is on the way. The Cliff Dwellings, Manitou Cliff Dwellings is up here. Garden of the Gods is near here. This is the backside of Pikes Peak. There's multiple dinosaur-oriented tourist stuff. There's a dinosaur museum up here. There's fluorescent national fossil beds. There's world-class fly fishing. A lot of hunting. About 3/4 of the county is either a national park.
See, I knew this was gonna be good, dude.
BLM. I like the cat.
Dude, I knew this was how it was gonna go. Like, I remember when we went up there and stayed and we played, like, you were just this recording of Victor history and like the ghost side of it and the mining history and like everything, like the civics of the town. It's pretty phenomenal. So
It's
again,
wild.
my
It's got
question.
a lot of history.
Yeah. What inspired you to do this?
For me, like, I just love. For me, one of the things, like, when I ran away from my parents' house, and moved to Denver when I was 16 years old, moving into Capitol Hill and moving into the Highlands, like, what really made it attractive for me is just the architecture and like the age of it, and walking around in those neighborhoods and seeing houses that were kept up and ones that weren't kept up. And I just remember just being a teenager and just walking around and just looking at houses in Capitol Hill, and it's just fascinating if you grew up your whole life in the suburbs,
Right.
And so I really came to just really love historic buildings, particularly late 1880s, 1890s in Colorado.
Right. It's a lot of
the
beautiful
Gold
stuff.
Rush era. It's very specific, and like most of Five Points and Cap Hill and like all those neighborhoods were built in that time.
All that
period.
Victorian stuff. Yeah.
And so I've always kind of wanted to own one of those buildings, but I just kind of missed my window to get one because a real commercial building with the zoning and everything in Denver now, you're just not getting into one for less than $2 million.
Oh, it's insane. Something like the Croak Patterson Mansion or something like that is just like, it's such an insanely expensive building.
Yeah, what do they even ask for that? And then if you actually have zoning to where it's you can actually have a business inside of it. I mean, you can't even touch it now in Denver. So I know you, Aaron, from I used to work in the music industry when I was at Bender's.
Right.
And I worked in the music industry for a while, and I mean, I think we all know how tough that can be to like get paid. And I just
not
really
just to get paid, but it wears on you spiritually and psychologically over time.
Yeah.
To get anything of value.
I just hit a point where I just was like, I had roommates that like kicked me out. I was like homeless, and I just can't do this to myself anymore. And so I just started picking up odd jobs, odd construction jobs, and was lucky enough started to do an apprenticeship under a guy who does amazing, really expensive restoration work, pretty much exclusively in what's it called, Park Hill, and Cherry Hills and stuff like that. And it's like $150,000 to buy a kitchen from this guy, kind of a deal.
Right.
And he was really meticulous and detailed oriented. We never went fast, and we just really took our time and did stuff right. And so I learned a lot from working with him. And then around 2012, I also got in the marijuana business for a while. Was growing and selling. And so
right on.
As the market for weed started to go down, the real estate market was going up, because at one point a pound of weed was like $4,000 a pound,
right?
And I'm guessing it's probably down around like $1,500 now. I wouldn't know it anymore, but
I don't know.
Yeah.
No, I really don't know. I get all my pot for free, so
yeah. I'm sponsored by Universal Herbs.
Yeah, right.
Park and Stout, everybody. Universal Herbs. But,
I mean, this does come from a studio for a weed TV show, like this podcast. Yeah.
What is the weed TV show?
The Nug Nation. Have you seen it?
No, I've never seen that.
Oh yeah, check it out. TheNugNation.com, sponsor of the show. Burn TV. Shout out to Burn TV. Love you. Thank you.
That's awesome.
That was a great tie-in. That was great.
Great tie-in.
That was perfect.
We could talk about weed all day.
So you got into the weed business for a while, like a lot of us did in one degree or another.
And then at one point, I started looking for land. I had this zany idea I was going to get some land and throw a Connex up on it to grow in, and then that never. It just turned into me just buying land. And so then I was in around 2011 and 12 and 13. I had some extra cash from endeavors and work and stuff. And so I started to buy some land up here in Teller County. And it was just like raw land. I was like, I'm going to build a cabin on it one day, or it'll go up in value just kind of as an investment. And then I built my first cabin up here. I was building the cabin, and then I had to come over into Cripple Creek, because that's where the county seat is, for some paperwork. And then one day, have you been to Cripple Creek other than that time you were up here? Have you guys ever spent any time in Cripple Creek?
I mean, probably at some point when I was a kid, but I have not recently, with the exception of coming up to see you, been up and around Cripple Creek.
They have gaming there in Cripple Creek now, and that's been all done over, and that's all these they took the historic buildings and turned them into these multi-million-dollar casino facilities. So I was coming back from Cripple Creek, and I said, "What's Victor?" I've seen it on the map a bunch of times. So I had already been owning land up here for maybe 4 years near Victor, and I just had never had a reason to come through Victor, to go to Victor. And I came into town, and I was just immediately blown away, because the city housed 18,000 people in 1899, and there's only about 400 people that live here full time now.
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was just like this abandoned city. It was like not a ghost town, but a ghost city, like this Wild West, and not like a cheap Wild West, like clapboard. Like, let me show you out my window here. I mean,
like this was a hot spot. Like this was a hot spot in the gold rush.
I really kind of found out later that this was almost like the Vegas of the Wild West, where all these buildings up and down here were built as saloons and casinos and brothels, and you can see they're really detailed brick buildings. These aren't cheap structures. So immediately I was just blown away, and I came into a diner in town and had a bowl of green chili and a milkshake, and it was across the street from here. And I sat and I just looked out the window, and I saw a sign in the window, "For sale by owner," and I was like, what do they've got to want $2 million for this building. And so I called. The owner was a bank, and they wanted $195K for the building, and they were willing to find financing. They said we can find financing.
What?
So I got my first showing of the building about a week after that, and I ended up, the person that came to show it to me was one of the officers from the bank. I was on the board, and then he was retired from commercial construction and concrete. I know a lot about concrete forming and how you reinforce buildings like this and redo the foundation and stuff. And so I immediately started talking to him about that. He was really impressed that I knew, he just knew right away I wasn't full of shit. I knew I was undertaking with this building and all the challenges and, what the mechanical issues were going to be. And so at that point, I had my chops, together to really do a project like this. And
Right.
So I pretty much went from the first showing of the building into a meeting with the president of that bank. And I pretty much made a handshake deal with this board officer, Chuck, and Tony from the bank, Tony, president
Tony
of the bank.
from the
I can't
bank.
remember his last name. And it took some months to hammer out all the details, but they gave me this amazing deal on the building. And they've actually ended up in the end giving me a huge concession on the sale price. I actually ended up getting the building for $153K, and then they gave me another $150K loan in the end to do this next. I did a phase for about 80 to 100K cash I had, and now they've given me another 150K now to do the windows and paint the exterior, build more bathrooms, insulate. I'm building a laundry facility here, so it's going to be a lot more sustainable also. And then I'm not carrying any high interest debt on it at all. And
Holy shit, dude!
I got the whole loan.
Dude, it's a gold mine. Like it was a gold mine.
It's like a gold mine.
Yeah.
I'm not quite at gold mine level yet, but I'm the business with just the 4 rooms open is very sustainable right now. I'm having no problem making the payment at all right now. And then when I open the next set of 3 rooms, I should be hitting some pretty solid profits.
So to give the people who are watching and listening some context, because it's like everything you're saying is pretty it sounds insane, but when you drive into Victor, like I remember being like, there's nothing here.
Yeah.
Like what like
is this?
Like it is like there is all sorts of old mining structures and equipment and timber and like rotting old structures out around the perimeter. There's a lot of overgrowth and kind of like right outside of town. There's a lot of overgrowth.
Rusty cars and old rusty equipment abandoned and not like from the 50s, but from like the 1890s equipment just laying around.
That has just been there forever. And so so they were probably pretty stoked on the idea of anybody coming in with an idea and trying to
some people
put
that
something
weren't
into
such a
it.
fan. It was a little too metal, a little bit too satanic for them. There you get your hardcore.
Did you get protested?
And stuff.
Did you get protested?
What's that?
Did you get protested?
I didn't get fully. They won't say anything to your face. Well, no, I have been.
There was pushback.
I got heckled by an old lady this year from across the street. I had a 75-year-old woman yell at me from across the street for painting my own building black, and it looks terrible. You're a terrible person for doing this.
Oh my God.
That reminds me of what my folks did in Garfield, Kansas, which is a town of probably about the same size, like 400 people. They turned an old Dairy Queen into an organic foods market, and I think they probably got the same response you did. People were like, "What the fuck is this?" So you're probably facing not as much opposition, I would say, as they did.
Not as the Dairy Queen, the organic food store. I did something here that it really had to be done. And it was a difficult process to go through, and unfortunately, I'd say the process wasn't completed. But there was a thing that had been painted on the wall here of the building, which was all the names of the vets from World War II here.
Oh,
in
wow.
the area.
Oh, wow.
And so but it was really, really problematic. I don't know if you saw, we put that awning on the exterior of the building because it was directly over the open like pit entrance to the basement, the stairs. And so every time it snows or rains, the basement is like flooding, and it's been doing that for 100 years here. And so the building's in pretty good shape, but it's got to stop. Has to stop. We've got to have it dry in the basement. It's really important. And so I'm like, guys, I just got to build this awning here. And so people up here in these small mountain towns, they tend to kind of live in their own world, and it's kind of like a bubble. And so I went to city council and I said, guys, something has to happen with this thing. And everybody on city council, the attitude was, I don't want to say they didn't care, but it was like a laissez-faire attitude. Do what you need to do. Figure it out. Hold some meetings. And then I put posters up all over town, save the wall. And I mean, I probably spent a whole year trying to let people know that I was going to paint over this thing, that we needed to have a discussion about where it was going to be moved to in town, the memorial, what it was going to cost to move the memorial, why it should not be in paint, but it should be engraved in metal or stone,
right?
Because that's what, a headstone. It's just how you do those kind of things,
right?
Did everything in my power to begin the process, and I at one point had a plan to do all the names on metal plaques and hang it in this one park, and I was pretty much ready to find all the funding for it. And some people in town intervened and said that they wanted to be one guy, my grandfather's name's on it, I want to be in charge of it, I want to do something even bigger, and I want to raise more money for it. And I finally was like, okay, that's fine, but I'm going to paint on this date.
Right.
I have to paint this summer. I have to build this awning this summer because I can't go one more year with water coming to the basement. And just despite going to meetings and holding multiple meetings and everything, I mean, there were some people that just shit their pants.
I'm sure.
Once it happened, and just there's so many reasons why it couldn't be there anymore. It shouldn't be on a private building, something like that. It should be.
And if it's painted, it really ought to be engraved, like you said.
Yeah.
Especially like a war memorial sort of thing, like a veterans memorial sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. You do that in stone or you do it in metal. And I guess somebody had painted something there maybe in the early 50s, and then nobody touched it, and it was just gone until somebody redid it in maybe like 2003 or something like that. And it had been done in, probably some of it was interior paint, it had been done with like house paint. It wasn't like acrylic or oil or anything like that. And so it was just flaking away and chipping, and it really, it needed to be redone. And it's just something that should just be in the public domain. I think everybody should own it, or the city should own it. I shouldn't own it. A private person should own it.
Yeah,
so
you shouldn't be responsible for it as like being the private property owner.
Every it's going to cost me money every year, and it's just a lot to ask of one person, I think. Mm-hmm. And the family members, I think too, every time it gets repainted, it's going to be redone, or whatever, I think people who are related to it, this is my grandfather, this is my great grandfather on here, it should be in their domain. And the thing is all those people came out and got involved, and the people who were most upset, because they comment online, and I got some hate mail and everything, and I take a look at who these people are, and some of the people that had the nastiest comments weren't even from the community, were people that had moved here like 10 years ago,
right? And
so had no real family tie to this thing at all.
That's how it tends to go. That's how it tends to go. The people who get the most pissed off in almost any fight are generally not the people who the fight's even fucking about. Yeah. It's true. Like, the people who tend to yell the loudest tend to just want to be heard in the conversation. They just want to yell shit.
Yeah, undoubtedly. Yeah. So I definitely we had a couple of people just I mean, get on our Facebook and comment every single post, and it's like,
wow.
Whoa.
Have you? So do you feel like you've integrated into the community now? Do you feel like that's died down and like it's like
I mean, we have, times are divisive right now. You know what I mean? Times are really, really divisive right now. And when you get out into these rural communities, this is where the hardcore Trump supporters are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think some people come out here because they are kind of hiding from the world, and so people who maybe have Mohawk or something represent the outside world to them.
Right. So you're kind of seen as an invader in some ways,
to,
do you think?
to some people, but I mean, to others, they're really happy to have us here. And, this is what it comes down to, Aaron, is the people in town who are doing something, who have well-maintained buildings, who have an active business, who are on city council, who
want to see the town thrive.
And who are doers themselves. And
right.
Effort themselves, will put out effort themselves, are all for it and are pleasant and good job. And, thank you for bringing so many new people to town, new customers to town. They recognize that part of my motivation to make it Black Monarch is I didn't want to compete with the other existing businesses because there are, a couple hotels up here, a couple restaurants. This was becoming Black Monarch was like a vehicle to bring in all new customers that had never been to Victor before and had become regulars and all that and the others. So
right.
They recognize it. It's just there's people in this world who want to keep America great, and that means that in their minds that we could somehow go back to the 50s or something, and that would somehow be better, even though the 50s was great for a very specific and relatively small group of people.
Right.
Right. So I mean, there's no, I mean, whatever. I mean, they don't want me here, but they're also climate change deniers, So
right.
At this point, I actually have. You know what it feels like? It feels like I'm Kevin Bacon in Footloose.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I can. It's just like, and I just want to dance, everybody.
Nah, but
he's the devil.
I mean, at the same time, I think. And this is just something that I've been trying to work on lately in my own practice of trying to be a human being,
Yeah.
I just finished this book, How to Have Impossible Conversations by James Lindsay and Peter Boghossian. And it's basically just a manual for how to sit and talk with people. And I was very surprised that it wasn't a book on how to win arguments. It was a book on how to listen to people. Say what?
Is Peter Boghossian?
I think you're thinking of
Eric Boghossian.
Eric Boghossian, yeah, the actor and playwright.
But that's his brother, and he was actually in World War II.
It's all coming around.
Sorry, I didn't want to bring that up, but that's
any old hoot. So I was reading this book, and I was surprised that it wasn't a guide on how to win arguments, and it wasn't a guide on how to necessarily convince people of another side. It was more about learning to have productive conversations in order to understand someone's epistemology. How they come into the knowledge that they possess and how they come to their belief systems and whatnot. It's a very surprising book because, I mean, the whole, it does it in degrees of difficulty. So it's presented sequentially. So basically, the very beginning of the book is all super basics, just listening and rapport, things like that, just learning to listen to people. And one of the things that I took away from that and started to kind of in thinking about that and in thinking about old people, they just knew the world a certain way And a lot happens.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Well, and a lot happens within a brief human lifetime. And people want things to be the way they were when they felt like they understood the world in some way. You know what I mean? And at the rate which human thought and computing power and society is changing all the time, I think when we are in our 60s and 70s, we're probably going to be kind of annoyed and confused and scared about some of the things that the generations below us are doing too.
Yeah.
By then, I'm going to be living in Victor because I want to be where the 90s are all the time.
90s. But by then,
if that's what it's like, then that's what I want to do.
But by then it won't be the 90s anymore, Gordo. By then it'll be the 20s.
Oh.
See, by the time you're old and you move out there, by the time you're in your 70s, it'll be the 2010s or 2020s.
I see. So you're saying that it incrementally, it just increases, but it's just behind.
It slides. It's like my dad's taste in music.
There, it's just.
It's like my dad's taste in music. It slides, but is consistently 30 years behind at all times.
I gotcha. Okay. I'm starting to get it now. I get it.
So I want to start learning a little bit about the hotel. Now that we've kind of talked about your experience.
I got one more anecdote for you.
Oh yes, please.
We touched on the how I feel like I'm in Footloose, you know?
Right.
I had heard this thing kind of through the wayside. You know, these small towns are like real rumor mills.
Oh yeah,
you know?
Super gossipy.
And nothing to do but gossip. And then the story changes as it goes from hand to hand to hand. And so one of these rooms in here, room number 1, I built this thing, and it's a king size bed. And I'm gonna show it to you guys.
Oh, I know this bed.
It's a swing. You saw this before?
Yeah, this is where Logan and Becky stayed when we were up there.
And so
yes,
it's so cool. And it's super comfortable.
And we do get, girls coming up here doing content for their OnlyFans or whatever. And, sometimes they like to hang out in the windows with maybe not enough clothes on. It happens. I don't condone it, but it happens, And
right.
So, and I've had people joke, there's been so many naked women in your window. We raised the rates for our rooms,
That's great.
There's a Baptist church in town, and I heard that there was a sermon that we have a sex club here with a sex swing. It should not be.
What?
Temptation has come to Victor. Don't be tempted to go to that Black Monarch and take a ride in that sex swing.
It's like when I saw it, like when I was there, I just thought it was.
This may be a rumor. I just heard this third hand. But I heard
the dream of the devil is alive in Victor.
Yeah.
Apparently. The dream of sin and decadence and the corruption of our youth.
Panic is well alive.
The nightmare of the 90s is alive in Victor.
Oh, yeah. So good stuff. Good
stuff. I mean,
So,
when I was there, I just thought it was a pretty brilliant, like niche boutique hotel. It's like weirdos like us and like goth kids and punk rockers and serial killer enthusiasts and steampunk dorks and think that our generation who likes stuff like that is starting to get to the age where they're vacationing with their sweethearts and going on road trips and
kids. Yeah, some of them even have adult kids now.
Yeah, some of them even have adult kids, and they're going. They want vacations to match their lifestyle. They have more disposable income, and they want stuff for their Instagram fucking feed. So I was just like, it's brilliant. This is like a perfect place for people to go hang out. And like, I didn't get the sense at all that you had any like intentions rooted in dark magic or like pushing some sort of like evil satanic agenda on anyone. Like to me, it just seemed like the AAA travel guide of the future. It's like you're trying to get that star on the map on the bottom of
Yeah.
Well, and I can see how that might be kind of confusing to somebody in a small town, or somebody with kind of, new ideas comes in and is just wanting to run a business like you're doing. Like,
Right.
I mean, maybe it seems threatening, but
Right.
but in the long run, it's a really great business model. That place looks fucking great.
Yeah, it looks amazing. And
my
they're
thing
ultimately
was-
going to benefit from it too.
Well, right, exactly.
and it's 100% designed. The concept, when I came in, I just said, look, if I'm going to, these people have their little boarding rooms up here and a hotel and restaurant. And if I start directly competing with them, it's going to hurt them. It's going to be tougher for me. If I do a straight ahead deal, I've really got to do an attraction. And then, one of the other things that got me, the cliff dwellings, the Native American cliff dwellings that are up here on the way to, so that's a gaff. A lot of people think that that's real. And if you go there, they'll tell you it's real. It is not. There was some sort of cliff dwelling that was there when white people got there. And it was worked on in the 1850s, 1880s, and it became a tourist attraction in the 1880s and 1890s. And then, and then it was reworked again, even in the 1930s. So, are you guys checking in?
Yeah.
Do you know what your room number is?
4.
You're in 4? Come on back. I got guests checking in.
Oh,
I'm also doing
cool.
a podcast. So, you guys are just in it now?
That's so great.
Sweet.
You guys
Hey,
are in 4?
This is content.
Yeah, this is
Yeah,
great.
this is content right now. And look at it too. Look at. Do you guys know the band MF Ruckus? Are you guys from Denver?
No.
Oh, well, it's my buddy Aaron. He has a real popular punk band in Denver. Look at him. Where are you guys from?
Hi, how's it going, guys?
Look at their outfits, though.
That's so,
Oh,
dude. See,
yeah.
this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about.
Grown-up punk rockers.
Grown-up punk rockers, man. Grown-up punk rockers want to go on vacation, and they own businesses now.
Thanks, man.
I'll let you off the show now. Sorry.
Oh, dude, that's exactly what dude, it's amazing. It's amazing watching our people get old and like demanding dude, this is what I was talking about before too. It's like
exactly
we
what you're talking
demand that stuff is like cool and punk rock and like accommodates us. And I think that much older people, they're just really wishing that the world accommodated them more. You know what I mean?
Sure. But the thing is, the world does accommodate them.
I know it accommodates
it
them
does.
almost exclusively.
Does it ever?
Yeah,
You know,
we're just trying.
what
We're
do you
just
think
trying to
Danny's
also
is
be
based on?
accommodated. Yeah.
Yeah, we're through accommodating you, Mitch McConnell. That's all right.
You know.
So
Yeah,
hey,
you
this
It
is
cracks me up about, like, oh, I'd be racist if I had a white pride group, but it's like they have a white pride group. It's called golf.
yeah. I've got your website up on a little screen cap here, and man, it looks gorgeous. Looks absolutely gorgeous. Let's I'm gonna go to this gallery here and just kind of let that go while we're talking. Why don't you actually, let's not look at pictures when people can just go to the website on their own. Why don't you show us around a little bit?
I'm down here right now. I'm in the old bar room.
So this
I
was,
haven't even really,
you hadn't really done anything down there when we were there.
and I still have it. This is pretty much my shop. I'm staging here. I'm storing tools and material and furnishings here. This room is about 1,500 square feet. You can see here it has the original ceiling
Wow.
in here.
That's
This
beautiful.
is all pressed tin. And I mean, you'll see this sometimes in buildings in Denver, but a lot of it just got torn out and just
Yeah.
nobody really valued it. And then somebody actually even tried to steal this out of here. You can see behind me there. Some of it's missing.
Oh,
And
wow.
so the bank, like somebody who was leasing it, tried to take off with it. So I've actually got all the missing pieces back here.
Oh,
I'm going to be able
cool.
to put those back
Wow.
up eventually. This that's behind me right here is not original to the building either. So somebody kind of built this as a divider. It kind of looks original, but it's not. So in here, I've got some fun stuff. I've got the Taxidermy Wolf I've been working on. Redoing the base.
Cool.
Skeleton sitting on top of him. What else do I have here? This is...
Doesn't look like he's sitting on top of him.
Yeah. He's taking a nap.
Yeah.
I just furnishings piled up, and this is going to be stuff I'm going to refinish or paint or make something else out of. And so I just kind of a process of collecting stuff. There's actually back here a very large painting of an owl that was donated by, do you know Theresa Marvato? That does the Scream Screen. She's like a horror movie host. You should have her on here. So I'm surprised you don't know her. She's so fun.
Do you know her, Gordo?
Yeah, I know of her. I don't know her personally.
I have made so many new friends through this place, and I just met her through this. But like, I just kind of met her like we should do a cross promotion, and we're like totally friends now. Like she comes over for dinner and stuff like that. She is really really awesome, and I'm
That's
surprised.
really cool.
It's funny because we're like the same age, and know a lot of people in common. And I guess she's been around, but maybe she's just reclusive. Like we're just recluses. I don't leave the house too much. So
Yeah.
But she's really cool, man. You should have her on. She's really a ton
Theresa
of fun.
Marvato. Okay, cool.
Theresa Marvato. Yeah, I think you should have her on your show sometime to talk about Scream
Make a
Screen.
note of it right now.
And they do that at the SEI on Colfax. Not right now. She just hosted a showing of Candyman at
cool.
Red Rocks.
Yeah.
And she...
Theresa Marvato. Okay, cool.
They give her
Pull her
budget too. She had out like Barbara Crampton, who's in Reanimator. Do you remember Reanimator?
Oh yeah, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Animator's great.
The guy takes his head off and puts it in between her legs. The
Yeah,
decapitated head goes down on her. She had like her at a live hosting, and she had what's her name, Felisa Rose. That's in. Do you remember Sleepaway Camp? Do you ever seen that slasher movie, Sleepaway Camp? With a big reveal at the end, and she actually has a dick. It's just like, oh, that's why she killed everybody. She's trans.
Yeah.
The most homophobic movie ever.
Yeah.
But so she's had her. So she'll get like like kind of these like C-list horror movie celebrities to come host these movies with her and stuff. And she's cool. She's fun. What else? Neat art. We get really neat art.
So you just are pretty much like collecting stuff that will go somewhere at some point, and then you build the theme out of the room when you get a decent amount of good shit that goes together.
Yeah, it's like there's a vibe. I'm on a budget, right?
No, that one, the window.
We're not bringing the windows up yet, though.
I got my tools in there.
Oh, you got tools in there? Okay.
Yeah.
So, here, let me
This
give you
is great that there's like a job site going on while we're doing the podcast. That's so cool. That's part of my favorite part about the thing. It's like, oh, I got to check a couple guests in. Oh, this guy's getting ready to move windows upstairs.
This is my helper, Chapo. This is the one man who actually does all the work.
What's up, Chapo?
What's up, dude?
Hardest working man you'll ever meet. He's up every day at 6 a.m. yelling at me.
That's great.
You're so lazy, güero. But, so he's
That's so fucking cool.
Now. He's the man. He's the man, dude. He's from the Chiapas Mountains.
Cool.
Near Guatemala.
Yeah.
In Mexico, and they're just tough ass people. The cartel burned his whole village down. He hasn't seen his family in like 30 years.
Whoa.
That's the whole show. That's a show for you, Chapo. What else? He was living in a bush when I met him. He's a tough little man. He don't take no shit from nobody.
Wow.
That's crazy.
What? Yeah, no, he's got stories, man. He's come back across the border a bunch of times, and he's got wild stories. Hey, do you want to hear a Chapo story? Do we have a second?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I would love to hear a Chapo story.
So Chapo told me a story. I think it would have been in the late 80s or early 90s, because he's like 56 years old or something. And he was in Utah, and he was trying to hop a train to go back to Mexico. So he was gonna literally hop on a freight train and ride it across the border to get back into Mexico. And so, Chapo, I think he used to drink. He doesn't drink anymore. But he got on the wrong train. And so he falls asleep on this train, and he wakes up, and it's really cold. And what he doesn't realize is that he's actually ridden this freight train not into Mexico, but into Canada. So he gets off this freight train, and he's lost, he's cold, he doesn't know where the fuck he is, and he starts just looking for anything. I guess he found his way onto this farm, and he found a building with a basement, and he goes down to the basement steps, and he gets in the basement, and there's some blankets down there, a place he can get himself warm, basically, right? And there's a bottle down there too, like somebody had been nipping it and taking a nap down there, right? So he's like, I drank the bottle, passed out cold, right? Wakes up, flashlights, people yelling at him, guns pointed at him, dogs on him, the whole thing. Just wakes up, just holy fuck, what's going on? And so it's Canadian police, right? And they're confused. They're like, how'd the little bugger get up here, eh? Like, well, look at the little feller. He's cold. I must be scared, And so they get a translator. And so, Canada in the 80s, they're not really used to dealing with that. Just, whatever. It's not the United States. They treat people with respect, So they get him a translator and get the story out of him that he got on the wrong train and he's just lost. And so in Canada, when they deport you, they have so little of that to deal with. They put you on basically a private plane, right?
Right.
And they dress you, they feed you well, and when they deport you also, when they kick you out of the country, they give you money.
What?
They give you money when they kick you out of the country because they're deporting you, and they don't want to send you back indigent. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they gave him like 500 something like that Canadian, right? And they put him on a private plane back to Mexico City.
Holy shit.
Okay. So it's 1988. The exchange rate on Canadian to pesos is like through the roof, right?
Right.
Okay. Stack him up, right? Okay. So he tells me the story, and he says, he comes back in, and, he's like loaded basically, right? He says, I remember the first drink.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
That's
I want to hang with Chapo next time we're up there,
yeah.
dude.
It's a great story.
He's the coolest, man. He's the coolest.
That's really cool. Yeah, man. I got in trouble when we stayed there. Because I found out about the place through my wife. Like, you and I hadn't spoken in years.
Yeah, I hadn't seen you in a long time.
Yeah, we hadn't seen each other in probably close to 10 years, I would say. Yeah, maybe because the first time I got married was that was in 2010. And that was when we were living in Cap Hill. So it was it was probably maybe 8 or 9 years since I had seen you last, because we lived in Cap Hill around the same time. And so, we hadn't really been in touch. And then Sarah was telling me about, she showed me the Black Monarch and showed me the building and showed me kind of what you were working on. And we both follow, I can't remember the name of the account, but it's an account on Instagram that's all old, beautiful, beat-up houses around the country that are, like, super cheap, but they're amazing. You just have to go, like, live in the middle of nowhere, Arkansas, or, in the middle of nowhere, Wyoming, or, Lincoln, Nebraska, or something like that, or Kansas.
A lot of those in Kansas.
Yeah. So just these amazing old houses, from around the same time. But so we're really into that type of stuff. And so she had shown me that and shown me the building and showing me the different theme rooms. Like you had the Tesla theme room and the H.H. Holmes room and all that stuff. And then she and I were like commenting, and then you hit me up and said, "Hey, it's me. It's Adam from Bender's. I own the Black Monarch." Like, you responded to Sarah and was like, "Oh, I've known your husband for years, and like, we're old friends. I'd love to have you guys up." And so,
you didn't bring her though, did you?
Say what?
You
No, she couldn't go. She couldn't go at the time. Yeah, well, no, we're definitely. I mean,
I'd love to host you.
We're definitely gonna come back. Just she was jealous that like you and I talked about doing something with the band, and I'm like, oh, well, we're gonna have Tony in town for this run of shows. We're doing this daytime thing in Pueblo because we did that Maggie's Farm Festival out in Pueblo, Colorado. That like outdoor weed 3,000-degree parking lot meltdown that we played with Reno Divorce.
Wasn't that with Blue Oyster Cult?
No. That was a different thing. We did like this like biker run in Grand Junction that was also a major roast fest, but it was super fun. Both the events were super fun, but one of them was playing a fucking biker rally with Blue Oyster Cult. So that, anyway, that's another story. But which was amazing. But yeah, so we had like a daytime festival show, and I figured, hey, we'll go play up at the Black Monarch and check it out, and it'll be fun. And she got mad that the first time I went up there without her because it was her idea, it was her find. And so I got in a little bit of trouble for that one. Well, so now I've definitely got to bring her back up.
Yeah, I'd love to host you guys. I mean, anytime. I'm, any sort of band at any level, I'm not set up to discriminate, turn people away. That's vaguely adjacent to our brand or our theme or whatever. I'd love to host it. That's a big component of my marketing is people, who are artists, who are musicians. I'd much rather just let them come stay here for free than spend any amount of money on.
Well, and you become a pretty hotspot destination. Like, you've got, like you were saying, you're able to, you never have a problem paying the bills. You got people coming in all the time. Like, are you pretty much booked solid all the time?
Coming into the month of October, I was pretty much sold out in October.
That's great.
I only have 4 rooms open right now, so there would only be 124 nights available in a month. And I had maybe 4 or 5 nights available at the end of the month. I think October is completely, it's just done now. I think all my weekends in December are almost gone now, at least half gone. November is booking up. Thanksgiving weekend, I think, is just about gone to separate people. But
and you pretty much stumbled upon this by complete accident.
Yeah, I mean, I knew that people that are adjacent to oddities, and so then that's metal, punk rock, goth, would love Victor.
Right.
I knew that. And so then
there's a big oddities culture. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I'll tell you, actually, that big oddities, one of the things that really inspired Black Monarch, I have a process of working on historic buildings. And so you don't want to fight what's there,
right.
And you don't want to be trying to move a wall over just a foot just to fluff up your ego or whatever,
Right.
And so I have kind of this, I have really no formal education. I'm a high school dropout, right?
Right.
And so the guy I was talking about that I did my carpentry apprenticeship underneath, his wife was actually a professor of architecture at CU Denver. And I also got to work with another guy named Brian Cook, who was a professor of architecture at CU Boulder. And I was doing, he on the side had a landscape design company, and I was doing all the install for him.
Mm-hmm.
But, he would talk to me in depth about the install and why he designed it this way. And so I just kind of sponged a lot off of these people. And so I kind of have like a philosophy of building that function should dictate form, right? And so people get caught up in this idea, I want to have this in my home, I want to have that in my home, it should do this, it should do that. And really, they should think, what do I want to do in my home? What is my home for? Like, what is the purpose of this?
Mm-hmm.
And so, I just started to think,
with whatever is already there existing. Like, how do I want to utilize this?
Yeah, totally. And like, so, people get, I want an island, because they saw it on TV, but maybe an island just doesn't fucking work in their space, and they just have to admit that to themselves. You need to if you're working with a pre-existing structure and trying to repurpose it, you need to let that structure talk to you.
I really like parameters.
Yeah.
I found parameters in art to be very useful. Like, with creating music, the times that I have been most successful from a creative standpoint is when I've just been working a very narrow window with like time constraints, or putting deadlines on myself. Like I have this idea of writing every single day, but only allowing myself an hour from start to finish on whatever the idea is. Like forcing myself to have something within that hour. And I felt, my output is just better when I'm working under those parameters.
It's true.
as we switch over to the bong rip.
the creative juices are kind of like flowing the right direction when you set up a good structure for them, Right. Like some people, it's kind of like some people think that, like, say they see something like an old Zappa performance or something like that, and like a lot of that stuff people would assume is like free form or improvised, but it's all rehearsed. There's a lot of rehearsal that goes into that. There's a lot of time that goes into that. There's a lot of, but what they did is they allowed themselves room to do what they needed to do within the confines of those structures. That begets freedom,
Right.
I think it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing,
I saw the classic albums on Apostrophe and Overnight Sensation.
Yeah,
because basically he recorded those back to back, which is insane. And
it's always insane when you're dealing with that guy.
I know, dude. And but one of the things that they said, some of the musicians said, is it was like everything was written and on the tour before those sessions. So everything had been written, and then we worked it out on the road. And by the time we went into the studio, like, those songs were what they were. That wasn't us fucking around and writing in the studio. Like, that stuff had all been established and rehearsed. Like, they went and worked it out on the road. And that's just such an amazing thing. You know what I mean?
Well, that's like when I first heard the Mike Patton's demos for Fantomas, like, I was like, there's essentially no distinction. The only difference between the album and the demos is that there's different personnel playing those parts.
Right.
It's all there, you know, and it's like, and that's some crazy shit.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
it really is.
I honestly, I was just really drawn to, I've wanted to own a building like this, of this era and of this purpose and scale, you know, for many, many years. I saw this one, I saw the opportunity to get it. Honestly, I got like possession of it in, I think it would have been January of 2018. Yeah, because I launched in 2019. I got possession of it in January 2018, and it had taken longer than originally intended to get the contract, so I had moved on to another project.
Right.
And so when I had to finish other things before I could start on it, so I didn't really come in here to start working on it until maybe October of 2019. And then I actually went to, have you been to that big oddity show that comes through, the Oddities and Curiosities Expo. It's a traveling one.
Curiosities Expo. It comes through town.
Yeah, it didn't come through this year. This year would have been
Why?
the third year of it in Denver. Why? But it's
How come?
I can't remember her name. It's an amazing show. They do it at the Merchandise Mart up there on Washington and I-25.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah, I'm right over by there right now. Yeah.
Next year, go. It'll definitely be back. They've been doing it nationally for years. It's the same lady that does that punk rock flea market event. Do you know that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I had gone to her Oddities show maybe that October, and I had bought a lot of stuff at that Oddities show, and I already had oddities and weird stuff and creepy stuff, and like, you know, I just like went and like printed out pictures of freaks at Kinko's and stuff like that, put them in old frames, and I had it at my house in Denver, the bed and breakfast property I have in Denver, Stout House.
Yeah.
And so I don't think that I.
Oh, that's right.
Maybe.
You own Stout House too.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Fuck, I
Yeah.
totally forgot about that.
Yeah, that was part of the bank too. They were like, okay, he's already got a successful bed and breakfast property, and he can build it. So, and he's got a little cash to throw at it. So,
Right.
yeah. So, anyways, what was I talking about? Oh, I don't think that I knew I was going to be the Black Monarch until
You got in
November
there and
or
started
December.
seeing what the building was already telling you it was.
I don't think until I was in here, like I had loaded the tools in and I had started demo, and it was time to order the paint.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know,
no,
it was
totally.
Okay, I got to commit to a wall color here. And I just said, can I do this? Can I be Black Monarch? And can I paint everything black? And it was just like, you don't do that. Like, there's ideas in design, and like paint the walls black and paint the floors black and all the doors black is like not a design idea. You know, it's like,
Right.
you don't do that. You know, it just, it does. Like, I have had to learn to light this place differently. Just because it does absorb so much light, and it has heating effects I didn't account for. The rooms get hotter now in the summertime, and I had to add air conditioning at certain spots where people in this area are like, I have never used air conditioning, at 10,000 feet.
Right.
So I think
That's
probably
funny.
gonna
You're
reduce-
like the only place in town that uses air conditioning. That's funny.
Yeah, because I painted the floors black. Yeah, so there's a couple rooms on a certain side, and the sun hits them in the morning, and they just jump up like.
That's commitment to an aesthetic, man. That's really, hey, but it'll keep it warm in the wintertime, you know?
Yeah, no, it's reducing my heating bill. It's passive. So the heating bill is more expensive, anyways.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I didn't think about that, and so I learned that. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't think I knew what I was doing exactly when I did it. I've always loved horror movies, and I got to give it up to my grandmother, who owned an antique shop in Golden and also had a hotel in Golden when I was a kid.
So you kind of had an eye for antiquities already, like, would you say?
Yeah, as soon as I was at an age or needed to be like getting my own furniture, I just immediately was drawn to going to the thrift store. And I'm sure you remember going to the thrift store in the 90s.
Yeah.
And it was like all the stuff from the 70s and those giant ashtrays and
Oh, yeah.
those
Big,
log
stupid
coffee
orange
tables.
chairs and shit.
You don't see them anymore, though. We bought them all at thrift and destroyed them all. You know?
Pretty much, yeah.
Like, yeah, all those ashtrays. Those ashtrays, they used to be, you couldn't get rid of them, and they were $1 at every thrift store, and now you'll see them at some boutique in Rhino, and it's
Dude, on
$45
Broadway.
for the ashtray.
What's that place, Decade on Broadway?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's
Oh,
what
yeah.
I was talking about.
Yeah, dude, for sure. You'll see some of those classic ashtrays in the window. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I knew I wanted it to be spooky and have spooky elements, but yeah, the whole thing came on a whim, and I went back and I just pulled all my spookiest shit from my house and drug it all up here. And so a lot of the stuff that's in the place I had for 10 and 20 years already.
So does each room have a different theme, or is it all is it all based around a central theme of just kind of the
Oh, show him the theme stuff. Like,
Uh,
you can show us
yeah,
some of
because
the
I
rooms,
just kind
right?
of want to get an
yeah,
idea of like
yeah, we can show you
what
some
it's all
rooms. Let me
about.
see what I can show. I showed you 4 earlier. I was in 1, 2. I've got somebody in there. Tesla, we're tearing up right now. Let's go over some of my collections of stuff while we're at it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what are the names of some of the themes of the rooms?
Oh
like,
yeah.
yeah.
So number 1 is H.H. Holmes, who built the Chicago Murder Castle in Chicago in 1893. That's associated with World's Fair in Chicago in 1893.
And
What
that's
is
the
it?
place.
Devil in the White City or whatever it's called.
Devil in the White City. Yeah,
Yeah, that's the
there's a
place
real
with all the
popular
like secret trapdoors and walls and stuff
Oh,
like
yeah.
that. Hidden laboratory.
The most prolific serial killer of the 20th century, right?
Yeah. It's a pretty crazy story.
You know what?
And
1,
so,
2,
like,
and 4
people
all
know
have ghosts.
so
Yes,
little
I
about
can't
him,
really show
too.
much.
Cool. So that's the Tesla room, right?
That's Tesla. You know what? Finished rooms aren't great to show you right now. Because I've got guests in. We should have done it earlier. You know what I'm going to show you is unfinished rooms.
Cool. Hey, and we can pop this. We can pop this up too.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna take a look at some of
Now
the
I'm
pictures.
too high. You got to fill for me. This is going to take a while. You gotta like walk around.
Oh, that's okay. I'm opening up the gallery here, and I've got it on the screen. Really cool. Yeah. That bed is so nice. I'm looking at the bed with the canopies around the side and oh god, which room is
That's
that?
the Elizabeth bathroom.
Oh, the Elizabeth Bathory room.
Yeah.
There's that kitchen. Well, oh, look at that bat. That bat's kick ass. Look at that lamp. Yeah, these are gorgeous, man. So what's the plan with the bar?
Well, I'll tell you. There was some studies that came out. I've done some studies of my own, and we have too many bars in town for the population and for how much traffic we have coming and going. They just aren't maxed out. What's here already? So I think I'm actually going to open a murder museum in the old bar room down there. But it's going to take me like a year and a half to get to that.
A murder museum?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Okay. So this is one of the new rooms that's in here. You were in here before when we had this all torn up.
Yeah.
This is where you actually. So we've got the original skylight
Oh, that's awesome.
back up. We stripped all these walls of the plaster down to exposed brick, and then we stained them, the black semi-transparent stain, and then we sprayed it with this.
Is this the room we played in?
Yeah. So this is real shiny.
Wow.
Finished well. Clean, easy to keep clean. So this is all the tin work. So this is all original to the building. I don't know if we showed much of this earlier. But this is all original to the building. And the motif here is dragons and hookahs. You can see that?
Dragons and
I didn't
hookahs.
know
That's
that.
awesome.
This building was originally built as a saloon and brothel and casino.
Right.
In 1895.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that history.
So this whole area around here, they ran trains up to this area.
Right.
So they had the cargo trains and trains that carried material, but they also had these trains that just carried people. And you could find, lists of these trains and like the description of them. And so like they would have different class tickets and they would describe these seats have leather seats, but if you get these tickets, the first class, you get satin seats.
That's
Okay,
like all
so
they
this
had to
one's-
offer was like really nice fucking chairs, man.
Yeah.
It's like we
So
can't
they-
refrigerate anything, so we can't give you a cold drink or anything like that. But
Yeah. The seats are satin.
the seats are satin.
So they would run these trains 7 days a week. The other trains would not run on Sunday, but these pleasure trains would still run on Sunday up the hill, right?
Right.
And this main drag here was just pretty much all brothels and all saloons. And
Hop on board the pleasure train.
This was like the Las Vegas of the Wild West, pretty
That's
much.
so cool.
In the late 1890s, yeah.
That's so
So
cool.
this room right here is going to be one of our new guest rooms, and this room is going to be our new Bela Lugosi Dracula room.
Bela Lugosi Dracula room.
Yes, sir. Bela Lugosi.
All
Dracula
right.
room.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So-
yeah.
So I have a question about the rooms there. Like, the Vic in Salida, that place is like a kind of an old bar / old brothel, kind of similar, I think, maybe to what's there at the Black Monarch. But in each of the rooms there, like we stay there when Granny Tweed would play there, and in each room they have the junk sinks in the corner that are just as high as your junk, so you can wash off your junk there when you're done. With your pleasure train or whatever it is you're
junk
doing.
sinks.
Yeah, like they're just as high as your crotch. The crotch sinks, crotch.
You can't get that at Kohl's, baby.
No, and that's I found that really fascinating. I
Not
didn't know
yet.
if any of your rooms had that kind of feature.
That's hilarious. A ball bath?
You know what?
Ball bath, yeah.
There were no ball baths in this building when I moved into this one, but there were ball baths in Stout House when I got it.
What?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, totally. So that house on Stout Street, when I got it, it was really weird. It had been like boarded up for 10 years, and there was like a lot of weird stuff. Like there was like this room that had like a bar in it, and there was speaker wires into every room. And when we started to clean, like we smelled beer on all the carpets, and it was just really, really odd. And then there was also these open showers where like the bathroom floor just ran into the shower. There was no like pan or lip or anything. and then like 3 of the bedrooms upstairs all had just the sink in the bedroom.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is really, really weird. And so I used to be married to a police dispatcher, and so I was like, look up all the, like what happened at this address, and she pulled it all, and it was in like 2001. There was just a bunch of prostitution arrests, and then like a shooting that happened associated with it.
That's too good. So this
Yeah.
isn't like that wasn't like a brothel. This was like or wasn't like an old, Victorian brothel. This is a house on Stout that and it had arrest records from like 2001,
Yeah, it
and
was
they
just a
had
trap
ball
house.
washers in the rooms. That's great.
Yeah,
That means
ball
somebody, probably in the 90s, plumbed that bitch out and just put multiple fucking what do you
Just please, I want this whole place outfitted with undercarriage bidets in every corner. Like,
How
let's
do
just
you
do
get the materials for that? Who do you go
It
to
would
for the
be
material?
hard off the shelf at Home Depot.
A ball bidet off the shelf
Yeah,
at Home Depot?
All you need is a plant, my friend, for that.
You just go down. You just go down to wherever you get the supplies for like drinking fountains or hand washing sinks at elementary schools, and you just like chop them down and modify them.
Yeah, just buy 3 vanity kits and do what you got to do.
Dude, actually, that would be really great if you could get, you remember the hand washing trough in elementary school that it was like the big circular like sombrero thing, and like you stepped on the little bar on the bottom, and like a little like pea stream of cold water came out, and you washed your hands in there. Do you know what I'm talking about? Did you guys have
one
that?
of those? They have one of those out at the old airport, the Stapleton, that they turned into a mall out there.
Yeah.
The bathroom has that in there, and I was like, holy cow! I haven't fucking seen this thing since I was a kid. This is crazy.
Like a new version of that thing, or like one of those original things?
I don't know. It didn't look old or new. It just looked like it was there. I have no idea, but it was that same thing.
Did it have like
worked.
the speckled granite that it's built
yeah,
from?
It worked.
Oh,
the whole
weird.
thing worked. It was so weird how it didn't look particularly vintage. it was just
Pristine.
there.
So someone's still making them. So I wonder if you
guess.
could like re-drill the spouts on them and put them underneath, so that when you step on the bar,
Shooting up.
it just shoots up.
You see, you got some great. These are great ideas, man. We
You
got.
should put one of those in one of your rooms.
We
You
got to
should put
work on some plans.
I'm gonna
We got to
do
work
all
on
these ideas. I'm doing all
patent.
these ideas.
These patents need to be coming through here.
You
I
can
think
put that at the
Victor
top.
Hotel down the street from me still has ball washers. Now that you mention it.
I bet they do. That's hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just like, and the image that's popping into my head is just some like cowboy in like butt flap, long underwear, like red butt flap, long underwear, with a hat on with the brim flipped up on top, and like some like 1800s, hooker like laying on the bed, like filing her nails or something, while this dude just like has his long underwear opened up and is just like splashing water on his balls and like making awkward conversation.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
God.
So do you get across the street much?
Washing up at the advice.
You getting across the street much?
I don't know. What did you say back then?
Oh. Yeah. Have you seen that stagecoach of entertainers that's in town for the week? They're putting on a variety show over there at the saloon. Me and my pals are gonna go over there later and shoot our guns in the air if you care to join us.
Oh my God.
Oh man. I used to have a job there working the oil lamp in front of the projector. So, man, this is so.
Jennings? Did you meet Jennings?
I don't know if I ever met Jennings.
Let's see if I can get Jennings over here.
Who's Jennings?
What's that?
Who's Jennings?
Oh, he's this boy from Mississippi that moved out here. That somehow that makes sense that he's from Mississippi. He lives in Victor, and apparently he has wealthy parents, and they bought him a bunch of old mining shacks, and he just like lives in unfinished mining shacks with holes in the floor. And
in multiple old
Wow.
mining shacks? That was his dream, huh? He wanted to be like, he wanted to do prospector cosplay, but like the extreme version?
Pretty much. And he's like 35 years old. He's like our age.
I mean, I get that.
You know,
Had I not met Sarah and had a kid, like, okay, had I not met Sarah and had a kid and 2020 happened and, like, there was no shows ever, like, if I had zero prospects, I probably would have gone and lived in a shack in Victor, Colorado and done prospector cosplay. Like,
that is honestly the thing to do in 2020, I think.
Like, I guess his brothers and sisters, like, I bet his parents are, like, rich. Like, you know, like, Trustafarian rich. Like, I've seen photos. They have, like, a huge mansion. They sent his other brothers and sisters, like, two are lawyers and one's a doctor kind of thing. And
right.
He went to blacksmithing college to learn to shoot horses.
He went to blacksmithing college. I went to smithy school.
Yeah.
I went to smithy school.
He's a hardcore trumper.
Dude, see, this totally makes sense. This totally makes sense. Yeah. Is he went to blacksmithing school. He went to blacksmithing college. Sorry.
College.
He went to blacksmithing university.
Yeah, don't get it twisted.
Yeah. He went to, I mean, this wasn't a weekend course. This wasn't like, the community blacksmithing college. This was like the Harvard blacksmithing universities, man. It was an Ivy League blacksmithing school. But like
I think it was.
I'll bet
I
he
think they said
started,
it's expensive.
yeah, well, I'll bet he started learning about the history of blacksmithing and like the Old West and old prospect towns and all this stuff. And I'll bet he totally fell in love with the fantasy of like being the old lonely mountain man, just nothing but your hammer and your anvil and your wits and the nature and your cunning against the elements. And I could see that. I could see me getting totally into that, dude.
Your hammer and your anvil and your wits. It's great.
And your
the
red hot bellows of your wits.
I think you just found the title of your solo album, man. That is perfect.
It's just you and me, donkey.
Fuck, man.
Yeah, that's it. That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's him.
That's great. That's pretty
great.
great.
Yeah, you know what? Big MF Ruckus fan.
Oh, was he at the show?
Oh, yeah. He was definitely at the show.
So he was one of the 3 people who were at the show.
Yeah. Yes.
So then we definitely met.
Yeah.
Jennings and I definitely met. Because I met everyone who was at the show.
He's talked about you on multiple occasions since then. He's been like, that fella sure can sing. He's an entertainer. He's talented.
Yeah.
Oh,
Signed him
man.
a contract. Somebody signed him to a contract?
Every time I start getting the Alaska thoughts and wanting to run away and quit, I'm just going to remember that somewhere there is a rich boy from Mississippi living in a shack playing prospector that loves me, and I love him too, man. That's just like, that is such a good feeling. What a guy. Yeah. What a sweetheart of a guy. And I'm telling you, like he doesn't have a wrong, he owns multiple shacks.
I'm telling you, he's a wealthy hobo. He does. He owns multiple shacks.
He's shack rich.
Yeah. He has one house where there is no house. It's just the foundation here in Victor. So it's just the foundation of the house.
Right.
And then over in Goldfield, which is like our neighboring, I call it Meth Field. Over in Meth Field, he owns another house. No foundation under the house. The foundation has fallen away.
Oh, wow.
So, we're just trying to figure out how to, bring one to the other.
So
wow.
I have an idea. If he's got multiple shacks, you guys should go into business together and make tiny cabins. Like, instead of having like one. Go ahead.
Work with him and stuff. We'll see. He's very possessive of his shacks, So we'll see if he gets them.
Yeah.
We'll
I totally get
there.
that. So what's...
He's working on it. He is currently building his own Airbnb. So we're gonna see where that goes.
See, you inspired him. That's what happened.
Yeah,
he's like, man, Adam's got that bitchin' hotel.
I said you've got to monetize these shacks, undoubtedly. No, he's got this one house. Actually, it's right on. This is a good story about him. So there's this. It was somebody's house, and it's like on the edge of a 15-foot cliff. Like, you can take a picture of it. It looks like it's about to just fall off this cliff.
Because it probably is.
It's stable enough. And this is maybe like a 300 square foot house. This is a house that's like the size of a studio apartment or even smaller.
Right.
Okay. That was somebody's, mining shack basically in 18 whatever. And so up here they have some gray area about what is and what isn't a residence, and like they'd let you reactivate this thing. They'd let you permit, but he's refused to like permit this thing. I keep telling him, you need to permit this project. He's like, I'm going to open it up. I'm going to do this. And so it got to a point, there was a power meter in it, and they came and they took his power meter and told him they weren't going to release it back to him unless he opened up.
Oh.
Whatever, right? Now, they're not ever going to make him tear this thing down because it has historic significance and it's just iconic. If he would fucking permit the thing, it
So
could
they're
be
like giving him every opportunity, and he's just like, no, man.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Here's his solution to the problem. He calls his parents. There's a fully, permitted and licensed house that somebody had redone, basically next door to the shack. Calls his parents up, over offers on the neighboring house by like 40 G's,
Oh my
and
God.
moves the neighbor out.
Oh my God.
Whoa.
His parents bought him the house next to his shack, and then he ran an extension cord over.
What?
That's one way to solve a problem. That's probably one of the more complex
He's like,
ways
Mom,
to solve
Dad,
a problem.
they won't let me use the goddamn extension cord over at the neighbor's house. You just go buy that house so I can just work around this cocksucker.
Look, man, I need power, man. Well, I just need some power.
Should
What's
I
the
just
most
get a
expensive
permit?
way I can get power to my shack?
Yeah. How much is the permit? Is it like $80?
I don't fucking know.
Like, how much is a permit to like have a power box in your house? It can't
They
be.
could do some other things, but I don't know. He doesn't want them coming in messing with his house, with his shack.
Wow.
I told him I would take the shack apart. I'd get him a permit to do this, and we would take the shack apart and put it back together like it was, but straight and square and true and ready to have like a proper frame in it. And we would basically like take the sides off and build a replica of it and then put the sides back on.
Yeah.
That just sounds like a man who prefers his West's wild.
Yeah.
He wants
Yeah.
the less water.
You know what?
Like a sway in the back and the roof, like you ever seen that, like an old house?
Oh, yeah.
And he's just like, they won't let me frame it back with that sway though.
See, this is how you should help him out. I think you'll go for this. Offer to run a really, really long extension cord from the Black Monarch to his shack. I think he'd be into that. I think that's the only way he's going to let you help him. That's funny shit, man.
Yeah.
So,
That's
okay.
crazy.
So tell me a little bit about what the future has in store for you and the Black Monarch. Because I know when you and I talked before COVID, this summer we were originally going to try and do an outdoor festival. So I know you've gotten involved with like the Chamber of Commerce out there in Victor. And although you do have your haters, the people, like you said, most of the town is really into working with you, and you guys are collaborating on things. So what do you see happening in that town over the next 5 to 10 years, and what are you going to be doing with the hotel and beyond to kind of like advance that forward?
Well, I'll tell you, we're going to be open in 3 new rooms by mid-December this year. So that's going to be big for us. And then by between March and June of 2021, I'm going to have a coffee shop open here. Directly below me right now, there's another retail space that's empty. And I'm going to build another hotel suite in there with its own restroom, not a shared restroom situation like these other rooms. I'm going to, and then in that bar room, I'm going to probably look at doing that murder museum. And then another thing that's really a big feature here, let me show you this right now. The city actually built this plaza that's behind us here.
Right.
And you can see people hanging out here right now. But this building that's back here with the garage door on it, that actually opens up, and that's a bandstand.
Right.
And
that's
so,
where we were going to do the festival that you had in mind.
Yeah. And so the city actually has been doing a festival here for 120 years, Gold Rush days. And so, I mean, there's a huge opportunity to, do something with this. It's really scenic. And I mean, once we have events here, this room basically turns into this is like a box seat,
Right.
So, I mean, imagine watching this concert, right?
Right. That's so cool.
From your king bed.
That's so cool. Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
That's super cool.
That's going to be great.
Well, I mean, I've got a lot of work. My long-term plan, I have drawings of this building with an elevator running through the middle of the building, and then, you know, 2 more hotel rooms or maybe a penthouse on top, a satellite bar, like a small bar on the roof. And then I also had a gas fire pit and hot tub on the roof in those drawings.
Cool.
Wow.
Overlooking the bandstand also, right? Because you got to be watching the concert from the hot tub in the mountains. Hey, could you imagine that though? And like in the winter time too, we brought out all these gas heaters, and it's like
Yeah.
in winter time, and you're in a hot tub watching a concert from the roof.
That's so cool.
That'd be pretty badass.
Yeah, I kind of honestly, where I see this place, if I do all that, I think we would become kind of like the ultimate like goth girl, tattoo girl, vacation wedding, destination wedding.
Oh, totally.
venue, you know?
Totally.
Absolutely.
It's like
You know,
it's
I
like
think
my
that-
bridesmaids and I we're gonna go out to this like super creepy hotel out in the middle of nowhere, Colorado, and we're gonna drink absinthe and take mushrooms and have a séance. Like honestly, dude, like if
And
Sarah
that's
and
all
I,
legal. That's all legal.
dude, if Sarah and I ever pulled the trigger, like that place is like built for Sarah and girls like Sarah. Like
Yeah.
if we ever pull the trigger and actually have like an official wedding, like that's going to be the type of place that she would want to go for like a bachelorette party or like, you know, some sort or a honeymoon or something like that. It's
Dude,
it's
all
perfect.
these it's like the perfect place for like those murder podcast conventions. You could do one of those out there.
Totally.
Like it'd be perfect. Like
Yeah.
I mean,
You know, I'm just trying to get more murder podcast people to feature it and come out here and record and just get involved. You know, I love that kind of thing. We booked our first with these other rooms also. Somebody is doing a murder dinner, like mystery kind of a thing here.
Oh yeah, that's perfect.
Couples.
Yeah, like a
totally,
murder
you know.
mystery dinner thing. Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah. Right. Great fit for here. You know, we're just like a really good size for it too. So I really see once I build all that extra stuff out, that this place will really become probably continually sold out on weekends with that kind of thing. Events. We'll probably find some little niche event like that you do here, and you come and you do a little escape room murder mystery thing here.
Oh, dude, escape room, totally.
Yeah.
People love that shit. Like you could offer corporate retreats to like record stores and like you could do group rates for like if you work at Mommy's Little Monster or like I totally almost said like Fashion Nation or Immy Jimmy, but neither of those places exist. But you know what I mean? Like Wax Trax does like a company retreat, or like
Totally.
everybody from like a tattoo shop does like a company retreat or something like that. And you can have them come up and do a escape room sort of thing or murder mystery thing. Yeah, totally.
Do you remember Vivian Vavoom? They used to do burlesque in Denver, burlesque as it was.
Yeah,
and she
yeah,
wrote
yeah.
that-
Burlesque
that
as it
book.
was. Yeah.
Yeah, she came and she had her birthday party here recently.
Oh, that's really cool.
That's big. You know what? Something was the whole thing. You know, I didn't know this before I had this place. 70% of the listenership for true crime podcasts are women.
I'm sure.
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
and
certain.
then
Yeah.
I listened
number,
to one of them the other day.
70% of our followership on social media is women.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I'm sure.
Yeah, at Black Monarch. So I was surprised by that, but yeah, just how much women just love spooky shit. I just had no idea how much women love haunted stuff.
Oh,
and
dude,
I
of
just
course.
didn't know.
Of course, man. Like they love it. They love like I've known so many girls over the years who were just like the biggest fans of Tim Burton and you know Nightmare Before Christmas and all that and God and like Yonan Vasquez, like Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, like all that stuff. They like And then, murder mystery podcasts and stuff like that. Two of the most famous true crime writers in recent history were, in fact, many famous true crime writers have been women, but two that, like, right off the top of my head is the gal who wrote about the Golden State Killer that was married to Patton Oswalt, who unfortunately passed away. I can't remember her name off the top of my head. And then is it Anne Rice who wrote the book about – no, it's not Anne Rice. It's the gal who wrote the book about Ted Bundy, who was actually, like, friends with Ted Bundy and ended up becoming a crime writer and then ended up writing about Ted Bundy after he got arrested. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't even know about that.
The name of her book was The Stranger Beside Me. Yeah, she knew Ted Bundy in college. They were good friends in college. I think they might have even worked together at the Crisis Center when he was working over there. And then she went on to be a crime writer, and he went on to be fucking Ted Bundy. And so she ends up, like, kind of combining these, you know, her personal anecdotal experience of, like, knowing him and keeping in touch with him and, like, correspondence that they had over that time and the crimes that he perpetrated. And, like, you know, it's a really, really unique way, like, to go about a book like that. And, like, that's got to be a, you know,
it's Michelle McNamara, isn't it?
Michelle McNamara is the one who wrote about the Golden State Killer.
Yeah, I watched that HBO thing about her recently. That was really good.
Yeah. I've started it, but we took a break because we're binging on horror stuff this month.
As you should.
Yeah. I watched Color Out of Space the other night, which was a lot of fun. I know a lot of people find Nicolas Cage annoying, but I thought it was great. It was a blast.
Oh, Color Out of Space. Yeah, I saw that. It had mixed reviews for me. I loved it just for Cage rage, you know?
Yeah. I mean.
Oh, yeah.
Wisecrack did this Deeper Dumb on Nicolas Cage, and they kind of talked about how he's really into kind of like Japanese absurdist type of theater. Like that's like he's actually a very serious actor. He's just into a style of acting that comes across as very over the top with Western audiences or people who, you know, the people who would be critical of him. I think he's awesome. I love Nicolas Cage. Yeah. But yeah,
it's just like, you know,
it's a little over the top. He had it. Yeah. The Cage rage.
I mean, it's just his financial problems are definitely interfering with the artistry. There's like no question at this point. Like he's just taking shit because he needs money.
Yeah.
You know about all that? His like financial.
No, I didn't know about that.
Oh, he's deeply in debt. He's like in really, really bad financial shape.
I haven't seen the quarterly reports.
No, he's like over mortgaged on like an island and all this shit.
Oh wow.
He went and he bought this T-Rex.
What is the deal with buying islands? These people that buy islands is so.
He bought all.
I'm
these,
upside down on my island.
Comic books at auction and stuff. He bought like a Batman #1 and Superman #1 and like all this stuff that you don't fucking need. And then, he bought.
You're kidding me.
There's like this famous story about him. He was at this like a charity auction, and there was a T-Rex was like the big item, like a T-Rex like skeleton that you could, like for like a museum, you know. And he got in a bidding war on it with Leonardo Dicaprio, and purposefully like drove him up on like the bid, and then just like dropped out at the last minute. You know what I mean?
Leonardo DiCaprio's a fucking asshole.
He rage caged all over Leo.
Hey man,
wow.
Nobody ever forget that Leonardo DiCaprio fucking fucked Nicolas Cage on a goddamn dinosaur skeleton. What a piece of shit.
So Nick Cage, but because he like has all this shit that he bought and he like financed a lot of it, like he has to work continually. Like he has to put these movies out. Like he has like a really high nut that he has to make because his like he took out like 30-year mortgages when he was like at the peak of his fame.
Oh
And so
my God.
yeah. And so if he wants to like hold on to his stuff, and then he had tax problems, um,
That makes sense.
yeah. And then he like briefly like married and then like divorced very young Asian woman. Uh, that was just pretty recently here. He was like married in Vegas for like less than 90 days. And then you realize he was married to Lisa Marie Presley at one point?
I think I remember that.
Yeah, that
He was
rings
also
a bell.
married to Michael Jackson, which is like
Yeah.
Well,
makes sense.
to be fair,
That's
Nicolas
the
Cage
rose
and
that
Lisa
Nicolas
Marie
Cage.
Presley make more sense to me.
yeah. Anything in Lisa Marie Presley makes more sense.
Well, especially, you mean than an asexual mannequin? Yeah. Like, well,
Dude, if you're
asexual at
listing-
best.
If you're listing like Michael Jackson and the Rage Cage as your exes, that's astounding. That's an astounding list right there. Like
I think her
is-
dad would be like you talk about like your father would be rolling over in his grave. I think he would be. I don't think he'd be rolling over in his grave. I think he would just be deeply disturbed. Like that, just like what did I do to my poor little girl? Made her run off with that feller, and then this feller who sort of played me a couple times in a couple movies in a really weird, obscure, absurdist way. That's just terrible. What did I do? Where did I go wrong? He would feel like a monster.
You know, maybe he did it to have access to the dynasty.
Yeah,
I
maybe.
think so, definitely. Nick Cage,
You know?
definitely.
He's a big Elvis fan. He is a big
Oh
Elvis
yeah.
fan.
Well, that much is obvious.
Yeah, he owns another thing that he owns is a real Elvis, like one of those white jumpsuits. Like he owns one of Elvis's. I know you're an owner of jumpsuits.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, Elvis. Yeah, he owns some really famously owns some really silly shit.
I dressed up like Elvis once when I was a kid. Like I had my mom helped me make my costume. Holy shit, a big fucking memory egg just busted open live on I haven't thought about this in years.
Which Elvis were you? Were you 68 comeback special or were you
No, I was
prior?
like Vegas. I was like Vegas white suit Elvis.
Okay.
But it was like, so it was like this, fabric, like stretch fabric, like spandex leotard thing. And then it just had little foam rubber triangles, like collars on it. And then the foam rubber little triangles were like bedazzled and like shiny bubble painted and shit like that. Like, then I wore the sunglasses and everything. And, I don't remember how old I was, but I was like super skinny. So I did not look like that era of Elvis. But yeah, man, I haven't thought about that in years. That just popped out of my brain. Anyway, Nicolas Cage is in a lot of trouble, huh? Yeah.
The question is he in more or less trouble than Johnny Depp? Because Johnny Depp's in a world of trouble as well, right?
Well, but Johnny Depp actually, like, he got he had a very public
he got Me Too.
Yeah, but there was eventually a recording came out where his ex-wife admitted on recording that she had been like beating him up and was crazy and all this. Like there's a whole recording of it that came out. Now that being said, Johnny Depp has enough money that I'm sure he could pay anyone to say anything that they want to say on recording.
Well, did he? I mean, have you read that Rolling Stone article about how much wine he bought, like vintage wine he's bought and drank?
Well,
like,
you're talking about financial problems that Johnny Depp has. I thought you were talking about
never mind the mental issues or whatever else, like marital woes or whatever. I'm talking strictly about. Let's talk about a cellar full of wine that is never a cellar full of wine because he lives there. It's like. Basically, he drinks everything that he buys.
Wow.
Like, and that was the report that he was just constantly juiced up.
He's drinking so much. He's drinking so much wine. Like he made himself broke from drinking too much really
$13,000
expensive.
I mean,
bottles
that's a very. I mean, I'm simplifying it to a great deal. There's a lot of other problems going on there.
But that is among the things that he
But
is
that is
spending money on.
among the things that he is doing right now. And I think and the thing that reminded me of that is just you mentioned the island. He's got one of those. Like Depp's got an island out there
island.
somewhere. Like I mean, like maybe he owns the one next door to Cage's
Nicolas
island.
Cage's?
I don't. Yeah. Rage Island. Like I don't
How
know.
do you think Johnny Depp's island and Nicolas Cage Island compares to Jeffrey Epstein's island? Minus the facilities.
Well,
the side
okay.
island.
My guess is that Jeffrey Epstein had a way nicer island.
He probably had the nicest island.
Because entertainers make it like the richest entertainers are super rich, but there is a whole nother class of wealth above Hollywood celebrities. Like we're talking about two of the biggest celebrities in Hollywood, and they can't even fucking balance their checkbook. You know what I mean? Like they're super rich. They're super rich, but they're not like Jeffrey Epstein and the people he was friends with, fucking mega wealthy people. So Jeffrey Epstein's island was probably better by orders of magnitude. Now, in comparing,
Can't imagine.
yeah, I know it like so crazy rich. Like, but comparing Johnny Depp and Nicolas Cage, I get the feeling that Johnny Depp's is probably 30% better than Nicolas Cage's island.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think that the Cage has a maintenance crew. I would imagine.
This is what I imagine. This is what I imagine. Is that like Nicolas Cage has like more stuff, right?
Right.
Than Johnny Depp. You know, he has like a bigger island, but like his shit is like thrashed.
It's not very well kept. He doesn't have a very well kept island. Like I imagine Johnny Depp has a really nice, well kept island with like lots of classy shit and like, oh yeah, this is a guitar that I got from Keith Richards and blah 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 blah. And he's got like a bunch of fake arms to hang his bracelets on and shit like that. But like, yeah, I imagine like Nicolas Cage has got a whole bunch of stuff that like is super valuable, but he's like left in a window with too much sun or like, you know, next to a leaky pipe or something like that, and it's taken on a little bit of water damage.
His mansion has ants.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I was
kinda-
gonna say I kind of picture an island that has a lot of storage facilities on it.
Totally.
Want to come out to my island? Look at my stuff.
Oh, well, I read the go back to the dinosaur. I never finished. He never set the dinosaur up.
He just has the bones? Dude.
Yeah, he has it like still in the box, like in his garage.
It's a bunch of stuff in the box. It's like, dude, and I'll bet there's like one bone hanging out, and it's like all covered in like drywall dust from like a project he had to do in the kitchen or something like that. And
he opened it just to show it to people and never packaged it back up. Yeah.
The box is like falling apart at the seams, and he's got it like folded up, and if you pick it up, you have to make sure you get the bottom or the fucking dinosaur will fall out the bottom of the box. You know, there's pieces missing. He's not sure where they ended up. Oh, I think they're in the kids' room or something.
That was a good impression. I believe that.
Hey, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors, if I may. First and foremost, Matula Plumbing. Matula! Shit rolls downhill. Don't be at the bottom. Your number 2 is our number 1 priority. Your shit is our bread and butter. Angie's List Super Service Award winner back in 2011. 1-1 is the only one that matters. After that, it got all political and shit, and you couldn't trust Angie as far as you could fucking throw her, man. He'll wear the booties for you. If you're in the Chicago area and need your shit piped out, hit up Jerry Matula. And by the way, for our patrons, we're giving away a bunch of original art from Jay Party Lord. We're also adding some stuff from Josh Finley, and I just talked to Jake Fairley today, and he's got some original panels from the comic. And so we're going to be giving a bunch of those away. But among the art that we're giving away is an original piece that was drawn but never used by Jerry Matula. The J Party Lord drew the Jerry Up Your Ass Metallica mock-up. We're giving that original artwork away. Part of me is tempted, like I feel like I should just give it directly to Jerry, but I think other people would enjoy it just as much. So I don't know.
Well, it's a wasted opportunity as far as he's concerned. He lost his chance.
You had your chance, Jerry Matula, to have that amazing piece of art. Anyway, that's a perfect time to bring up our patrons. Man, you guys are fucking amazing. Seriously, without you, this band would be dead in the water. Man, I actually have to give a shout-out to our number one patron, which is Logan's brother, Marshall O'Connor. He's been with us the longest. He's been a top-tier dude the whole time and has like really been keeping us alive. So I hit him up to let him know he was going to get first pick. And, Marshall's my childhood friend, so we haven't touched base in a while, so we took the time to sit and shoot the shit via text. And he suggested that possibly I was giving The Social Dilemma a little too much credit. That was a really funny thing. He was like, we're just like going back and forth about this, and he's like, by the way, I've been listening to you, and I think you're putting a little too much stock in The Social Dilemma, man. Just called me out on that. It was pretty funny. It was good. And I told him, we kind of had our back and forth about it, and then I was like, hey, and honestly, I really, 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 really hope that you're right and that we aren't on the precipice of a dystopian future similar to the comic book that our patrons are helping us make. Thank you so much, guys. We appreciate you so very much.
Yeah, I appreciate the patrons too, because Granny Tweed gets a small stipend every month. So thank you for supporting that band, which supports our band as well.
Yeah, you do. You get a small stipend. Must be coming out of the back end.
I'm joking. That whole joke came out of my back end. Are you kidding me?
Dude, you're so good at the back end.
No.
The back end jokes and the deadpan, dude.
The back end delivery. Well,
yeah.
Deadpan is my life.
Yeah. Who else? Evergroove Studio, located in Evergreen, Colorado, who is helping us work on this epic project. We've got so many songs up there and are gradually starting to chip away at them. Just had a meeting with Brad recently, and we're really going to be putting our shoulder to the wheel and moving this goddamn thing. It's an amazing studio, amazing people run it, and they're located in beautiful Evergreen, Colorado, up in the Shadow Mountain region or the Black Mountain region. I can't remember which one. 70%,
it's in the shadow of Black Mountain.
It's in the shadow of Black Mountain. That's right. Black Monarch Mountain. Anyway. Not yet.
Nice tie-in.
Not yet. But yeah, 70% solar powered. Hit them up at evergroove.com. RocketSpace Rehearsal Studios is open for business. So even if you're not playing any totally not scary, socially distanced concerts right now, you should at least get together and go jam with your buddies at RocketSpace. They keep everything nice and clean and tidy and safe. And, man, it'd be beautiful to hear some noise in that place.
Hey,
Kate,
been there, done that, bought the T-shirt, just did that the other day.
Awesome.
Granny Tweed, we're playing on Halloween at Appaloosa Grill. Get your tickets somewhere.
Are you really?
Go ahead,
You're playing
please.
a gig?
Yeah.
Right.
Finally. It'll be
on.
like the fourth gig we played this year.
So, okay, then let me ask you a question. Sorry to put you on the spot, Gordo, but when are you coming back to podcast?
I can come back. Honestly, I could probably come back soon, I would imagine.
I do have Jake Fairley on the books here soon, and I think we're going to have him in studio.
Excellent.
Yeah. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
We'll set some stuff up.
Doing a Black Monarch T-shirt coming up here soon.
You're doing a T-shirt?
Yeah, with Jake. He's doing the graphic for it.
Oh, Jake's doing the art
cool.
for it?
Yeah.
Dude, he's perfect.
That's awesome.
It's going to be like a weird sci-fi punk rock kind of thing. It's going to be cool.
That's super fucking cool.
Yeah.
That's fucking cool. Want to give a shout out to Burn TV. This podcast and a bunch of other great content comes out of Burn TV Studios here in the heart of an undisclosed location in, is this Rhino? Is that what we're in? Am I still in Rhino?
Reno.
No, Rhino. North Rhino.
Reno.
No, no E Rhino. I think it's Rhino. Yeah. Burn TV,
Reno.
man. See what we're burning, man. Smell what we're cooking. Home of the Nug Nation. TheNugNation.com, bitch. Flipside Music. I just went over to Flipside. Okay, a couple really cool Flipside things. First of all, shout out to those guys for letting me bring my little boy in there. When we went to pick up our new masks from Blackout Screen Printing. Those things are pretty cool looking.
Let me see it. I can't see it.
Oh, yeah. These are great, dude. Can you see it?
That's great.
Yeah, these are great. And you can get these at our website, mfruckus.com, or go directly to our Big Cartel site, mfruckus.bigcartel.com. Anyway, I was over there picking up those masks, and we decided to stop into Flipside Music so I could get some picks and some strings. And Ike let me plug a guitar into an amp and allow my son to hear amplified guitar for the very first time in his life. And it blew his little mind, and it was awesome, and it was a super rad dad moment, and he loved being there and loved all the guitars and bass guitars and noise that was going on in there. And while I was there, I put the down payment down on a Iridium by Strymon, an Iridium pedal by Strymon, and it is the most fun toy I've gotten in a long time. I'm having a lot of fun jamming on that. So, yeah, man. Shout out to Flipside Music. Life is short. Make some noise. Those guys are fucking amazing. Check them out. Largest selection of effects pedals in the region, and that's a fact. And all the know-how you need to rock out. Oh, dude, by the way, Gordo, I forgot to tell you, Ike can fucking play, man.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever heard Ike play before?
Yeah, I have.
Dude, he's like a blues man.
He is. He's a
like,
blues man through and through.
Dude, he's like, he started playing, just kind of noodling around, and I was like, holy shit, I can fucking play, dude. We didn't even talk about his playing when he was on the podcast. Let's see. Oh, yes. Mutiny Information Cafe. This is a Mutiny transmission, which is a media service division of Mutiny Information Cafe, located at 2 South Broadway in the heart of Denver, Colorado. Coffee, books, records, live entertainment, cereal. No one has a larger selection of Torini syrups. No one.
No one.
Yeah, tell them the boys sent you. Adam, dude, my guy,
sir.
I have had a really, really fun time having you on. The story of your spot has been fantastic. It's been great to smoke weed with you long distance. It's great to see what you're doing over there, and I don't know how we didn't really talk about kind of the origin story when I was up there visiting, but it's really phenomenal, man. And
Thank you. I appreciate that.
yeah, I'm super excited for you, and I'm super excited to see what the future has in hold. And once
I
the world,
am too. It's not going anywhere. It's holding steady financially. You know, I'm right where I need to be. So
that's great. That's great. Well, I can't.
Yeah,
I can't wait to
great
get
stories, Adam. I love it.
thank you.
I can't wait to get back up there, man. And
Yeah, I want to get up there too.
It's fucking amazing. And now would
Whenever you
probably
wanna
be
come
a
out.
better time than ever, honestly. I was going to say I can't wait to see you after the world's less cattywampus, but honestly, a retreat up to the middle of nowhere in your beautiful facility could be just what the doctor ordered. So
Hey,
maybe
buddy,
I'll bring the whole
It's
family up.
Trump country up here. You know, they don't care. You know, there's no masking required. So
They're like, what you got them face panties on for, boy? By the way, have you guys seen the new fucking South Park? The South
you will
Park?
get made fun of for wearing a mask into the convenience store across the street.
I'm sure.
from here.
I'm sure.
Wow.
I'm sure. Have you?
I have seen it.
Dude, the South
I
Park
do.
pandemic special was so
Yeah.
fucking good.
It was good. It was really
It's
good.
pretty good, man.
Oh, sorry, power tools.
It felt medicinal. It really did. If you haven't watched it, go check that out. And hey, I've only got 16 of these masks left. Only 16. They're going quick. So get yours online now at mfruckus.com or at mfruckus.bigcartel.com.
Oh, you know what else?
What?
This is my new solo album.
Oh yeah, dude.
I keep forgetting to talk about it because it's so unremarkable.
The Gordon Leadfoot solo album. Dude, tell us a little bit about the album.
That's my grandpa playing bowling on the cover there. That's Tom Gordon III right there. Don't ask me about the first or the second. Don't know much about him. That's me on the back as a small child enjoying stereophonic sounds. And
it looks like the Matthew Sweet album, 100% fun.
Yeah, I basically modeled my entire life after Matthew Sweet, and so
the 90s are alive.
Yeah, like I said, I'm all about the 90s right now. So
that's a good plan. I like that.
Yeah. You can go to gordophonicrecords.com if you want one of those. It comes with 2 limited edition stickers, which are pretty great. One of them glows in the dark. That's pretty neat.
Is that vinyl? Is that a 7-inch? Or is that a CD?
This is a mini vinyl. This is what they call a compact disc.
Oh, sorry. I didn't have the scale. I couldn't tell scale. And
I could make it look really big. I can make it look like a record.
Holy shit! That's a gigantic CD, Gordo.
And you can too. If you buy it, you can say, "Look at the record I just got.
Look at the laser disc I just got.
Look at the mini disc I just got.
Look at the floppy disk I just got.
Look at the coaster I'm using right now. It's amazing."
Dude, I haven't. Is it on the streaming services yet, Gordo?
It's not. It'll be on Halloween. It's set to drop on Halloween.
Dude, please send me a link for that.
I need to get your address so I can just send you one of these puppies.
Okay, I'm going to give you my address live on the air, okay? Here you go.
Got it.
Yeah, no one's coming over. No one ever comes over. Hey, Adam, but seriously, though, It was. I knew it was going to be a fun episode, but it's been really great to talk, and I'm glad you're able to walk around and show us some of the stuff. Give us the plug, man. I showed some stuff from your website, but is that the best place for people to reach you?
Yeah, you can find us. You can call me directly, 720-585-1709. The business phone number goes right to me. I do all the sales pretty much. Don't just show up here because I'm oftentimes sold out.
Right.
Let's see. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram. Airbnb is huge as my primary point of sale. The website is monarchhotelco.com. Is that right? Yeah, monarchhotelco.com.
Or blackmonarchhotel.com.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm getting ready to redo it.
I'm looking at it right now.
What is it? It's Black Monarch Hotel?
blackmonarchhotel.com.
I got it. Yeah, blackmonarchhotel.com. What did I say?
You said like blackmonarch.org.co/GeoCities something rather. Angelfire.com.
What else? Google. If you just Google me, I'm outranking. I'm actually have been outranking the Monarch Hotel and Casino in Black Hawk.
I saw that
on Google.
Yeah,
I'm outranking them. Yeah, and so I actually get phone calls for them all the time, like every day. And then I try to sell them a stay at my place. I'm like, it's spooky, man. Don't you like spooky?
Have you ever poached
spookier and better?
Wait, have you ever poached business from the Monarch?
Absolutely.
Get the fuck out of here, dude.
Absolutely.
They're going to be so pissed. You just said that on the air, dude. They're going to be so pissed.
You know what?
Dude, you're in so much fucking trouble. Don't bring this heat down on me.
They outrank them on Google. They're trying to go to a casino. They're older people. They don't know how to use the internet very well. And I say, hey, why don't you come up to Cripple Creek and stay at the Black Monarch?
And they're like, but do you have all you can eat crabs and slot machines?
They have it. They have it right down the street from me. It's 5 minutes down the street from here.
There's all you can eat crab place, really?
Yeah, they have it on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. They have all you can eat.
I'll bet you're booked solid this month, aren't you?
Prime rib, yeah. Listen to me. They have prime rib. Yeah, no, I'm sold out pretty much every night of the week.
Because I was gonna say I got like 3 days back to back coming up, and I'll get something going here soon. Maybe this winter will come up and hide out.
The
And
slowest time of the year for this business is January and February. If you don't are in the ski business in Colorado, January and February are your slowest months. So that'd be a great time to have you up. It's no big deal.
awesome.
If I'm gonna have empty rooms, it's gonna be then. So
Well, hey, I got to tell you, when we played in your little back room there, in your creepy back room for 5 people, that was, in my feeling, like that was one of the best shows we've ever played for nobody. Like it felt so good to jam in that room. I don't know how it was for your guests, but I had an awful lot of fun jamming in that room with my friends. And I appreciate you having us, and I appreciate you letting us stay there, and I appreciate you inviting us to do other stuff in the future. And the offer, like you're a real sweetheart of a guy, Adam, and I just cannot thank you enough. And I think your place is just fantastic. And and you know, hopefully a couple of the people, well, let's see. There are a couple of people who watch this and listen to this. So if half of the couple of people who watch and listen to this come up and stay with you, man, I hope they don't trash the place and drop our name. And
no, you guys have fans. You guys had fans up here, remember?
Oh yeah.
There was like a girl that showed up at an MF Ruckus show up here, wasn't there?
No, dude, she showed up in a shirt that we had sold her at the Steel Panther show. She was like, I wore my shirt so you guys could sign it. I was like, get the fuck out of here. She's like, oh, yeah, I wasn't going to miss this for the world. It's like, you get to see us play in a back room. That's cool. That's cool, man.
You want to know what? The five people that came to that show, legendary up here. That's legendary to them. You missed it, man. You missed it.
Yeah, you should have been there, man. Adam brought in this fucking rock band, and they just set up and they just fucking rocked. They just rocked in a tiny little room, man. It was fucking amazing. Dude, that was a lot of fun. I had a really...
He was shredding. Yeah, you listen to Jennings Davis tell it. It was a beautiful moment.
Hey, to all the Jennings Davises in the world, thank you for your enthusiasm. We appreciate the shit out of you. We love you very much. There's only one. There's only one Jennings Davis of the world. Hey, thanks all you for watching the motherfucking podcast. Sorry we haven't been super consistent lately, but you know, it's hard to show up in the apocalypse. It's hard to get the energy to do things in the apocalypse, so we're doing our best. Gordo, I fucking love you, man. Thanks for coming and having conversations. Tech Guru Ethan, wherever you are, I hope you're listening in the background while you're working for your, I'm pretty sure that Ethan works for a supervillain. Like, he says he works for QSC, but I'm pretty sure he designs technology for some sort of, mega-rich supervillain. I can't prove it yet, but I think that's what's going on. Anyway, yes. Ethan, while you're building a death ray for your boss, I hope you're listening and hearing how much we appreciate you. And big shout-out to my guest, Adam Zimmerli of the Black Monarch. Go to blackmonarchhotel.com and book it now, man, because he's filling up fast. And I'm excited to see what happens with your spot, dude.
Okay, yeah, come see me this winter. I'll see you then, buddy.
Yeah, man. All right, and we'll see you guys next time. And fade to black.